A very good morning to you, live from the Union Buildings in Tshwane. If you've just joined us this morning, this is where the official celebration of Women's Day will be taking place. Of course, we look back to 70 years, a day of reflection today, looking back to those 20,000 women, strong, united, resilient against the apartheid government's draconian laws. The women of that era certainly taking up the fight and playing a pivotal role towards the attainment for democracy in South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa will be delivering the main address this Women's Day. And of course, while South Africa has been hailed for its constitution and laws that protect women, there are many challenges that women still have to face in today's society. Post-democracy, economic exclusion, being at the coalface of unemployment, and a host of other challenges that women are facing. But of course, today is a day of celebration, notwithstanding the fact that we will look at some of the issues that women still face today. I'm not alone once again. I'm with SABC News specialist correspondent Sophie Mokoena. Ms. Sophie, I did say a bit earlier on, a great day of reflection, but of course in a conversation a little bit earlier on, and we'll play that interview in just about a moment, the Minister for Women in the Presidency talking about significant strides that have been made. For example, women representation in government. We could also hail that.
You are correct. When you look at the cabinet, not the entire executive, I'm talking about cabinet, ministers, you have many women, and they are not only occupying some of the positions that one can say they are not challenging. Let's take for an example the Department of Justice, Minister Mamuluko Kubai, a woman at this critical moment where you have the Madlanga Commission, where she has to deal with those issues that are coming out of Madlanga Commission, but also the issue of migration that has become a challenge to South Africa. Her leading that Ministerial Committee on Migration. You have the Minister of Defense, Minister Angie Motshekga, a woman leading that portfolio. You have Minister Kumbuzo Nchabeng leading the Department of Intelligence, State Security, quite a critical one, just to name the few. And therefore, it's not just numbers, but also occupying powerful positions. And South Africa is doing very well globally, including in Parliament. We see women are there, the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, the parties in Parliament, political parties. You have formidable women representing different political parties. Who can forget now with local government election, we saw how some political parties have fielded powerful women for positions of metros. And therefore, I think in South Africa, yes, we have a space on the table. What we have to do is to ensure that we pull others. I think that is the main challenge. And we are doing well, and including countries such as Rwanda. And therefore, the issue is economic empowerment. Because if you are not economically empowered, then you have a problem. And that is why some women are saying we are prepared to support women who want to challenge even the highest office in the land, that is the presidency.
If we look back to, for example, a Commission on Gender Equality report, which spoke about, in fact, SABC News conducted an interview last week about this, where they speak about elections, women and participation in elections. That has somewhat dropped due to a number of challenges. I just spoke about, economic exclusion is one of the challenges that women face today. Why do we think that is the case? And it's an important point to make precisely because women were unified even before 1956. The previous marches involving Abome, Charlotte Maxeke, they were unified during a difficult time. They were resilient during a difficult time. Post-democracy, we have access. We can challenge power.
Women can challenge any position. They are capable, they are talented, they understand leadership. It's up to them to make themselves available because a contest You have to make yourself available and don't be scared to lose or not to be supported, but make a statement. And therefore, I think it is time for women to understand that they are capable, they can lead, and they can resolve problems. I mean, these problems, most of them around the world, we see men who are fighting the current conflict in Ukraine, the Middle East problem. Women are victims. They are not the source of the conflicts. But I think they must make themselves available. They must challenge those positions.
Well, absolutely. And those strides that have been made, that my colleague Sophie Mokoena speaks about. In fact, we had a conversation a little bit earlier on with the Minister for Women in the Presidency, Sindisiwe Chikunga. And in fact, she spoke about some of those strides. And while there are these challenges, the scourge of gender-based violence, I mean, escalating, the alarming rate at which it's escalating in countries such as ours is certainly something that undermines the progress that has been made. But there's quite a lot to celebrate. Let's hear what she had to say a little bit earlier on.
We have achieved a lot as South Africa for women, for the mere fact that you have a woman and a department for women.
Yes.
That's for me progress. That today we have 64% of people who graduate from our tertiary institutions being young women. That's progress. That we have the Chief Justice of South Africa being a woman, the Auditor General of South Africa being a woman, and many others who occupy very strategic positions. I think we've made progress. But are we where we want to be? Definitely not. And you're so correct. The issue of gender-based violence still undermines our struggle as women. It cannot be that every day we learn that a woman has been killed, and killed first by the intimate partner, killed first by anybody else, raped by a relative in the family. And it's all these things that we have to fight against as women, doing it together. Because we need one another. Those women of 1956, they taught us one thing, that individually, yes, but as a collective, you'll achieve more. That is why you stand here today.
Yeah.
You know, we're celebrating ordinary women who some could not afford a pair of shoes. But we're celebrating them. It's them who brought us to today. And that is why we have every reason never to look down upon any other woman. Doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter their status. It doesn't matter their education. They stand for something in South Africa. And that is why we who are put in positions have a responsibility. And that is why we are saying empowered women, empower nations. So it's not just the responsibility of being empowered. But when you are empowered, you've got to open gates for other women so that they can pass through, and understand that as you open those gates, they can actually surpass you. They can be better than you, and you've got to appreciate that.